Welcome back to the kitchen, everyone. As you can see on my bench, I've got plenty of interesting ingredients. We're making a simple chicken recipe that everybody calls the coq in Riesling, coco Riesling in French, which translates to the rooster in Riesling. But no one is using rooster, so you cannot call that recipe a coq in Riesling when you use chicken. And this is what we're going to do. The recipe is going to be called simply the chicken with a Riesling sauce. It comes from the Alsace region, northeast of France, next to Germany, hence the use of a sweet Riesling. And this particular recipe has to have a sweet sauce. So we're going to see today how to make that sauce properly and how to get this sweet flavor using the Riesling, using the cognac and all the other ingredients. And of course, a bit of cream. So let's have a look. How can we make that chicken in Riesling better, especially if you've seen that recipe and you've made it before? It's coming from Alsace and it's using a Riesling. Riesling from Alsace are medium dry or sweet. So it means that the sauce is going to be sweet. The big mistake a lot of people make is using any type of wine. And using dry wine is the worst thing you can do with that recipe, okay? So Riesling, ideally from France, Germany. You can use one from New Zealand like this if you're in Australia or New Zealand. It's a medium dry Riesling and you need to have cognac because it adds elegance and also much needed sweetness to the sauce. Chicken, very good organic chicken if you can get it. Buy the whole chicken, cut it into pieces and you make a homemade chicken bouillon with the carcass. That is going to bring that extra layer of flavor. Mushrooms and shallots, no bacon. I'm seeing a lot of people putting bacon in that recipe. There's no bacon. Bit of garlic, bit of thyme, and finally the cream has to be an absolute top quality cream, the best you can get. When you have all this, the cookware simple, you can use a cast iron pot, Le Creuset. I'm going to use today a little rondeau here, but you can use pretty much everything. It does not matter. For the mise en place, when you're ready, of course, everything will be listed in the video description, but you measure all the liquid, the cognac, the wine, the chicken bouillon, the cream. You slice the mushroom, you slice the shallot, detail the chicken in pieces, and then you get a branch of thyme and the garlic with the germ removed. And what we're going to start doing is to pan fry the mushrooms. And now the mushrooms. So mushrooms is always a bit of a dilemma. You can put them straight into the dish with the chicken, but I think the coloring is lacking. So for me, like a lot of other recipes, saute the mushroom is a good idea. So you start with the mushroom, bit of salt and pepper. As we can see, that's enough. I'm turning the heat off. We just want a little coloring, but not going too far. Perfect. So once your mushrooms are ready, any little bowl on the sides. And now we're going to start to make the chicken. We have to color the chicken slightly on medium heat. So 1 tablespoon of grapeseed oil and a tablespoon of butter. So for the chicken, we are not going to try to brown this very much. All what we're going to do here is to add a slight coloration because this is a white sauce. And what we're doing here is called raidir la viande. It's to make it stiff, like when you're contracting your muscle. And we just want a slight blonde color. And that's going to be it. Blonde color on all sides. Perfect. So the practice of blondir to make it just slightly blonde, you see, a little bit of color like this. Just a little bit, nothing more. So I'm going to turn my pieces here, leave it for 1 minute or something on the other side, and then I'm going to transfer the other part of the chicken that I've got here and blonde everything. Raidir, remember in French, called raidir la viande. My chicken is done. I've reserved it on the tray on here. And look at all this fat here with the chicken flavor and stuff. What we're going to do with this. Boom! The shallots in. Beautiful. The thyme and the garlic. Take a spoon and stir the whole lot. Ah, I love this moment. I really like when the recipe starts to build, you know, it's like these Lego blocks. So you reduce your heat. No need for high heat on here because shallots can burn very quickly. And we're just going to cook them for a few minutes. After 2 or 3 minutes, we've got the caramelized juices of the chicken. At the bottom of the pan, we've got the flavor of the shallot. All looks good. What we're going to do, we're going to do a deglazing with cognac. Usually you can do a flambé, but here there's a lot of cognac. So I would not advise this, otherwise you're going to put your house on fire. So just put the cognac and you let it evaporate. You raise your heat and the alcohol is going to evaporate, and we're going to use that cognac to basically detach all the caramelized juices. Once the cognac is almost all gone, you're going to see that what's going to happen here, all the caramelized juices are now within the shallots and they've blended all together. So we get everything. We can put the mushroom back in. We mix the whole lot. And now I'm reducing my heat and we're gonna add our pieces of chicken. So remember the legs like this, usually 25 minutes, and the breast is 15 minutes. So we're gonna put everything in, but after 15 minutes, we're gonna have to take out the chicken breast to avoid them being overcooked. So finally, we're gonna add the liquid. So we've got the bed of vegetable here at the bottom, mushrooms and shallots with the garlic and thyme. That's gonna infuse through the chicken. And we're gonna now put the homemade chicken bouillon. That's gonna add some beautiful fresh flavor. One part of that, and the rest is just gonna be all of the Riesling, again to add some sweetness. I'm gonna raise my heat and bring it to a boil. And look at this, the first boil up here and the cooking time can start. I'm gonna cook this for 30 minutes and I'm gonna put the lid like that, just cooking partly covered. After 15 minutes, I'm gonna take out the chicken breast, reserve them on the tray on the side and keep them warm in the oven at 60 degrees Celsius while the legs continue to cook. When it's done, we're gonna take the chicken out and make the sauce. The time is up. My chicken is now cooked, so as you can see, my chicken breast is gone. I'm gonna reserve this on the tray that I've got here. And now we're gonna make the sauce. While you're making the sauce, you're gonna put a foil and put this in the oven at about 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. Keep it warm. The chicken is in the oven and now we're ready to make the sauce. Making the sauce is simple. We're going to reduce the juice and add cream. That's about it. But before then, we're going to try this. You see, that's what I'm talking about. As they say in Alsace, there is no chicken Riesling or cooking Riesling without Riesling, because this has got a nice sweetness to it. It's nice and round. And with the mushroom, that goes really good. So let's do this. High heat. And we're going to reduce that cooking juices to concentrate the flavors before we add the cream. So we're going to leave this to boil for a good 4 minutes, I think. And one thing you may notice is that I said, oh yes, it's a white sauce, but look at the sauce color. You see already it's got that brown thing because of the mushrooms. Just to tell you that anything with color, with a bit of brown, is going to color your sauce immediately. So this is why you use cream here, to brighten up the sauce and get it as white as possible. So the cream, usually at least 100 ml. Reduce my heat for a bit. And all what we're going to do here is blend the whole lot. And then same thing, we're going to reduce again to thicken the sauce a bit. Now it's not going to get totally thick, and there's different technique you can use for that. Some people use an egg yolk that you can mix in the cream towards the end to thicken the sauce, or if you want, you can use a thickening agent like a beurre manier or arrowroot, which is basically tapioca flour. But for me, I'm just going to go with the reduction method, but that's really up to you. So once it's reduced, what are we looking for is the spoon coating consistency. I think we're done now. It means so you take a spoon, you take your finger like this, and you can have a clear mark that stays. So I'm going to try this. It smells brilliant. Wow, now that is tasty. Everything come together. It's like there was some sharp edges in there, but I think the cream really kind of round everything up. So it's like a nice, smooth kind of taste. And there's a little bonus if you want. You can add a few tablespoons of fresh Riesling in there to boost even more the Riesling flavor. That's a little trick. Okay, so I've turned my heat off. My chicken is out of the oven. And what I'm going to do now, just before you serve, you're going to put back your pieces of chicken in here just to coat them with the sauce. And wait until you're ready to serve. You usually serve this in a dish. I'm going to use a nice dish to do that. But first I want to do the coating with the sauce. So basically you take your pieces of chicken, and you turn them around and make sure they're nicely coated, and they're going to warm up and get some moisture in there, so you get the idea. And then leave them in there for just a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, something like that. And it will do the trick. Okay, so before I'm doing that plating, I'm just going to put this in a nice dish. I'm going to use that little chicken supreme here, put a little bit of sauce on there, maybe a mushroom. And you know what, I'm going to grab that. Ooh, and try this. And tell you what it's like. Wow. Add fruity, huh? Exactly like I was saying, you got the fruitiness. The meat is really, really tender. I like the fact it's been like braised like this in the wine, the cognac and everything with the chicken bouillon. But it's full of taste, and it's nice because the mushroom, it's not overpowering. It's just right. And there we have it, so a better presentation in a dish with a little bit of garnish on top, and you can serve this on a table. It is a family dish. The king of accompaniment with this is usually the spatzel, which is I think an Alsatian kind of pasta, but if you have tagliatelle or something like this, it will go perfectly. You can also use rice if you want. Remember, if you make that recipe, the key is to get that sweetness. You need a sweet Riesling. You need eventually a bit of cognac. If you don't have cognac, you can skip it. Make sure you really have a sweet Riesling, because otherwise you're just not gonna have that kind of roundness to the dish, and it is so important. But that completes the video for the week. As always, if you have any question, use the comment section. If you want to post your picture, use Instagram, hashtag French Cook Academy. And if you want to follow me, you can use Patreon, Facebook, or even join our culinary school. I see you all next week. Take care all. Bye-bye.